Since a long while there are people who has been insisting me that I should talk directly in the videos, but that idea didn't appeal to me because I don't like my voice and I don't like to be in the spotlight. But I'm going to try now, let's see what happens, and if it's not too bad I might make another videos. Because there is a topic I would like to bring to the attention of people. People who believe in reincarnation or in spirituality or in quantum physics. And before going into that subject, I'm going to expose something. To begin, when I was 3 months before going to be 2 years old, it happened something that, in fact, is the first memory I have of this lifetime. And I saw, I was this little child, not even 2 years old, half naked on the lap of my mother. She was trying to put a thermometer on my behind, and I was crying. I was very nervous, I was afraid, and I was crying, "Viva España! Viva España!" That is long life to Spain, long life to Spain. My mother remembers still nowadays that, because it was so funny for her that a little child, where we had no television at that time, she got such an idea. She was just learning to talk, and she just came suddenly with that. So she still remembers that, and sometimes she laughs and talks about it. I never told her actually that I saw that. Now, I didn't see it as a child sitting in the lap of my mother. I was just floating above 5 meters, and I saw like in a dark room, and it was a light coming just on this mother with her child, and I saw that child suffering and crying, and I said to her, "Don't worry, everything is finished. You don't have to be afraid anymore. Now you're in another life, here you are safe." Me, in that time, I was same age like that little child, but I had that wisdom to say that. Where did I get this idea from? Because I do remember later in my life, sometimes I come like flashbacks of that time, and especially my mother keeps on telling of that moment. But obviously that one who was flying or floating had the wisdom, knew that child was suffering because of what happened to her just before in another life. In that time, of course, as a child, I didn't know of reincarnation. That was a topic which is taboo and forbidden to talk about, because in Catholicism it doesn't exist or is not recognized. But I do remember that happening, happened yesterday, but 1 week ago. And just that I was there, and I saw that child, the suffering of that child, and the mother angry because she could not manage to get the thermometer. And I talked to that child as an adult, telepathically, not with the mouth, We don't talk with the mouth in those dimensions, we just talk telepathically. So my conclusion as an adult is that I lived in that time. Obviously, or I think, of course, that is in the time of Franco, because as a dictatorship, not everybody is safe, and people is tortured and killed. So probably I was a socialist who was tortured, or maybe I was a nationalist, just loving my country. As a socialist, you love your country also, just in a different way of expressing it. But you have to see that I was born in the middle of the 60s. Franco lived until 1975. So it was, and in the Buddhism, we believe, for Tibetan Buddhism, we believe that you are reincarnated within 2 months after you pass away. That means if I was reborn in the middle of the 60s, that means in my other life I passed away in the middle of the 60s. If I was a woman or a man, or how old I was, I cannot say. I was an adult, obviously, because even in the dictatorships, they are, or in this kind of, you have to be an adult for this kind of torture, I would say. So I didn't see myself in that life. I only saw the suffering of the child afterwards. Many years later, already in my 30s, I lived in that time in India, and I spent also some time in Nepal. I was just going for teachings of Tibetan lamas. I was just doing spiritual retreats there, and I was studying Tibetan medicine. So just once I was going for a retreat with Chukini Rinpoche. I was not the only one. We were like about 50 foreigners and some Tibetans in the mountains, in a monastery he has there. And I had a friend in that time, just friend. He's a Canadian, Philip. He lives now there in Canada. He's doing different kind of healings, and he's very good in his work. So I was, before that retreat, we decided to do an exchange of Reiki. One day he gave me Reiki, one day I gave him Reiki, and like that for 1 week. And after the Reiki, we used to talk about what happened, what we felt. So the last day before that retreat, it was her turn to give me a Reiki. And when he had his hands in my heart chakra, in that moment, I left my body. I went, and again, like when I was a child, I was just floating there above and looking like 5 meters high, and I saw, it was this time not a dark room, but it was in the mountains, and it was a hut, and in front of the hut was a Tibetan Nakpa. A Nakpa, for who doesn't know, is like an Indian sadhu. They are just meditators who dedicate their lives to meditate. They eat little, they bath less, and they have the hair like Rasta, like the Rastafaris of Jamaica. They're just in red locks. So here he was, this man there, and when I saw it, I said, "That's me, eh? A man?" And I wanted to come closer, but then Philip changed his hands, the position of his hands, and I came back to my body. After the session we talked, and he had the same experience as me. He was there, he was floating, he saw a Nakpa in front of the hut, but he said, "What does the man?" A man? And that irritated him, because I'm in this life a woman. So he changed the position of the hands because of that feeling. Funny enough, we both are spiritual Buddhists, and we know that because in this life you are a man or a woman doesn't mean that in the next life or in the past life you are a man or a woman. You just keep on changing depending on your actions. So we both got irritated in that moment when we saw me as a man. To confirm that fact is that sometime later, I don't know, a month later or 1 year later, I went to visit Lama Dawa. Dawa in Tibetan means moon. So I went to visit him for something. I wanted to ask him. He is this kind of Lama who is doing divination, not with Tawaka reading. He's using a metal disc to do the divinations, like a mirror, because we know that in Tibet before, of course, mirror didn't exist. They just polish metal, and then they can kind of look at themselves in that metal. So he has this metal disc, and in front of it he just throws some grains of rice, and he sees there whatever his question was. So he did that, a divination for me, and he told me that in another life I was a Tibetan Nakpa, a man. They can be also women, but in my case I was a man. So that confirmed what I didn't need a confirmation, but that was another confirmation. And later, I don't know when, 1 year, 2 years later, I don't know when was that, I wanted to go to Tibet. I was in India, I was in Bodh Gaya doing a retreat, and I just decided to go by bus to Nepal to go from there to Tibet. But being in Nepal, I just remember, oh my God, I do need actually a Chinese visa to go there, and it's not possible that I know, or in that time, to get it in Nepal. So I had to go back to India. So I went to Khenpo Sutri Gyamso Rinpoche to ask for an divination, for an advice. What do I do? Should I go back to India to ask for a visa, or should I go with a group of tourists from here to Tibet? Because I had a friend that time from Switzerland who brings a group of tourists to Nepal. So I asked him, and he just looked at me, and he looked around me, like if he was looking at my aura. I have no idea what he was actually looking at. And he said, no, you don't go to Tibet. Like, I'm not asking if I go or not, I want to, I'm going to Tibet. And I said, no, if you go to Tibet, that will be it. You will not return. Your life will end there. Oh shit. Okay, because I really wanted. So whoever knows this Rinpoche knows that he is very powerful, and if you don't take his advice just freely, what he says, you should take it into consideration. So a couple of days later I was with Tenga Rinpoche, also a very high Lama, and also you should not take as a joke his advices. And I didn't go for that, I went for something else, but being there I just thought, I might ask about it. So I said, I'm planning to go to Tibet, but I might have some obstacles on my way. What kind of ritual, kind of pujas I can do or order to be able to go there? So he did his divination with a mala. And he said, you can do this puja, this other one, but you know what? If I were you, I would not go to Tibet. Because you come. I saw that if you go, you will die there. Okay, that was clear for me. I'm not going to Tibet. If such two very high lamas, enlightened beings, tell me that, okay, thank you for that. I didn't go there. With the times, through my meditations, through past life regression in hypnosis, and through talking with mediums, or having sessions with mediums, I was then told that yes, I was a meditator, I was an Akpa. But when the Chinese invaded Tibet, and I saw what they were doing with us, with my brothers and sisters, I lost my patience, I lost my unconditional love, and I killed Chinese. And to do that I used black magic. So I got killed. After I knew that, something was lifted out of me. I understand much better. I saw monsters. I'm home. I'm home. I was here. Do you want to challenge?